You got one life, for crying out loud. You might as well just give it all you got.
The Deej, Dan Jordan.
Your daily dose of reality. Your daily dose of the Deej.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I need my daily dose of the Deej.
I make the news. I don't watch the news. I'm a leader.
The Sales Energizer, Dan Jordan.
Listen, don't worry how to sell, baby. Worry about why people buy. And it's fun.
You don't need a 5-hour energy. All you need is the Sales Energizer.
Just when I think it's not going to be as fun as the one before, each one gets successfully better. What's the word I'm looking for? What's it going to take to get you into this car today, huh?
And now, please welcome the Sales Energizer, Dan Jordan.
Boom! That's exactly it.
Do that. Let's do that.
Hey, there we go. You know, Chris Stone, you'll be happy to know that in the break, you know how I was stressing during that whole thing. I was stressing about my pen cap because I'm obsessively compulsive. And I'm like, how does a man lose their pen cap? And then I found it and because it's like a frayed edge. Something is out there open. You don't know what's happening. And then I found it. And the feeling of peace that came over it, the only thing I can compare that peace to is when I see you on the other side of this camera lens here, because you complete me, Krista. Oh.
I told myself I wouldn't do this.
That's exactly right. This is big time.
Well, I get to be on both sides of the camera on Wednesdays, right. And
always
look
forward to Wednesdays.
So we've got our viewers out here, our normal Dan Jordan live viewers every Wednesday at noon. But Dan, as many of you know, we're over on Amazon. That started about 5 weeks ago, and we're having fun. Yeah, we're having fun over on Amazon, and we've got some people that are already there on Amazon. But we've made it easy for the Dan Jordan fans that are watching on all the other tubes. Don't say it, Dan. On all of the other tubes,
the
Facebook,
fallopian tubes.
Yeah, I knew you'd do it. I had to.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
YouTube,
right.
Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. We made it easy for you to come over to Amazon. We got a great guest today, Daryl Perry, the bow tie guy. This is going to be a fantastic show. So come on over to Amazon, and we made it easy. Just go to your browser and type in thepitchman.live, and join us on Amazon.
That's right. Yeah, that's where the fun is. But actually, the fun is it's really the people. It's the conversation. So go ahead and you can chat with us, unmute, do whatever you have to do. We can hang out. As long as you're on Amazon buying stuff, you might as well listen to some good commentary while you're at it too.
Right. That's right.
And so I'm excited for that. So with that said, we have our guest today who's in the most boring profession on the planet. And he manages to make it exciting and to help people live better with this. And he also is, and I'll say this ahead of time before you introduce him, when this whole crazy virus started, as I did say, man, we got to do something different. He invited me on his show very, very early on when nobody knew what they were doing. And I feel just so grateful that I'm able to return the favor. So bring him on board.
Yeah, let's do it. Would you please welcome to Dan Jordan Live, the one, the only bow tie superhero, insurance nerd, and of course the podcast host and the show that I believe Dan Jordan was also on. Would you please welcome Business with Benefits, Daryl Perry? Woo! Oh man, he was ready. He was ready. He was ready.
That's not how you raise your arm. Raise your arms to the sky, baby. There you go. That's right. That's how we go. You gotta, it changes. It changes the entire energy. You know what it's like? It's like a show without Ricky is like this. But when Ricky comes along, then it's like this. That's how it just changes the whole level. Ricky's a fan. Actually, we're fans of his, and he visits us on Amazon Live. So a cool dude. He's a cool dude. All right, my man. So you're back in the house here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, this is great. You've been busy as all get out during this whole thing. It's like, and that's a trick with a lot of businesses. People don't realize. You may not be busy. I don't know, but if you just play around enough on these I guess social media sites, you just start branding yourself and you look really busy. Has that been your program?
Oh, I am busy. It's not just a look, but I was in a meeting right before this, jumping into this. So I'm on Zoom all day, phone calls all day, doing reports and stuff all day. So it isn't a trick, but you're right. You could make it look that way, but you got to back it up with the work. Right.
Well, but here's the real question: did you close? Did you get?
It wasn't that kind of meeting. It was a training meeting. It wasn't that kind, but I will close later on today.
Okay. Oh, you'll do a little closing today.
Yeah, I will.
Well, that's now insurance people see this is there was actually an old Woody Allen movie where somebody committed a heinous crime and the penalty for this crime was you had to spend like a 24-hour spell alone in confinement with an insurance salesman. that was the penalty. So that's the industry you're in.
Man, I never saw that movie. Man, that's a rough one.
Chris Stone, you're the movie aficionado. That wasn't what there was a movie with an insurance. It was like fun. They were walking down into the pit of despair, and the guy was behind him saying, "Well, this policy, what you need to do is understand." It was like you don't know. That's like the greatest. We're gonna have to find that out. So tell us,
find that movie, please.
How do you get your business? I mean, are you going after the business, or do people just come to you because of your charming personality?
Well, so basically, when I started in insurance 8 years ago, it was all cold calling. I moved from Vegas to Georgia. I didn't really know anybody, so I get this wild hair saying, "Well, I thought I'd be an accountant, but accountants don't make a lot of money unless you do it for a long time." And I said, you know what? I'll give insurance a try since they found me. Cold called everything. I started in July, was #1 account opener in the state in that 6-month period. Then the next year, and this is with Aflac, the next year was #2 in the company for just cold calling. Cold calling works and it's fun. I like to read sales books and scripts and things like that all the time. But at a certain point, you kind of say, I don't want to have the hunt for business. So probably around 18, I decided to go heavy on LinkedIn. Far as, putting myself out there, making some content here and there. And I was horrible back then, but thinking it was more like a fishnet to kind of pull things in. So now people find me on LinkedIn and kind of say, hey, I need benefits for my business, or hey, I need a life policy or something. So it's still a hunt still, but I have some gathering aspects now because of social media.
All right. But that's the marketing aspect. But once you get them on the phone and you're talking to them, I mean, do you still have to pitch anymore?
I don't really like the pitching idea. I like it to be like tennis, like a back and forth, because the pitch to me is kind of one-sided in the sales game. So I like to make it back and forth. I'm very big on questioning. So I like to ask questions that kind of bring to light your issues so we can have a conversation. You ever seen the movie Inception with Brad Pitt back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
I only watch Woody Allen movies.
Okay, so Inception was basically like putting a thought in your mind to do something without you knowing it. I like to have sales be like Inception. Like, I don't want to make sure it's not predatory. It's just, I want it to be your idea that helps you in a certain situation.
Well, you'd be horrible on Amazon. All right, let me hear. So here, let me ask you this. Okay, so what's the latest thing that you bought on Amazon? A ring light? You said a ring light earlier.
I've had that for a while, but the latest, that's probably the most I use the most.
So let's say here to get my account, I want to hear your pitch on a ring light. Tell me why you bought the ring light. By the way, we do this for everybody. I'm inventing this now. This is a weekly thing. That what we do is we ask you to pitch the latest thing that you bought on the Zon of Am.
So I will say why I have it first. So why is because it was too dark for my videos. So you see I'm nice and bright now. It's too dark. What I would do to pitch it to you, I basically say, if you're live streaming, how are you making yourself visible enough for your audience? And I say, what do you mean? Well, I watched your videos. They're kind of dark. Like, what are you doing to make sure people can see you're actually not in the basement?
Are you in the basement?
No, I'm not. But if I didn't have it, it would look like that. So then I can say, you know what? You might need a ring light. Have you ever looked at those before? No. What's a good one? And done. At that point, you know the problem. I brought your problem up. So So now you can figure out the solution pretty easily, especially with Amazon, because everything's there.
That is excellent. All right. Well, you got the job.
Well,
Yes.
It's like anything. If you're going to ask a question, that your customer is going to tell you what you need to say. They're going to tell you what they need. They're going to tell you what their problems are, and then you're going to work to solve them and sell them. I mean, that's Dan. That's like, that was on the first podcast we did together.
That's right. That's exactly. That. By the way, one of our fans over on actually Ricky. The famous Ricky. By the way, he's famous not on just my show, the Pitchman.live. He's famous on like every Amazon show. He wins every contest. But he went out of his way. He went right. Do you know Jennifer Oaknin?
I do.
Is it Oaknin or Oaknin?
Oaknin.
Is it Oaknin?
She takes it either way, though. She's okay with it. Just call her Jen.
Okay, Jen. Okay. Well, we'll talk about you. But Ricky went out of his way and found out the movie. So there it is. Ricky on Evan. The scene was
Take the money and run.
Money and run. But Woody Island.
Okay, I have to check that out.
It should be on your next live event that you give. Hey, do you ever do events? Do you ever go out speaking?
Yeah, I do. I do. And usually I try to make it fun, as you mentioned, because insurance is just your eyes glaze over like, oh, great, an insurance conversation. So I think about it's one of those things that's important, but we spend very few minutes actually researching it. If you think about your open enrollment for your benefits at your job or your life insurance, you probably took a few minutes to research that versus your vacation you spend like weeks preparing for. So I try to make it fun as possible because I realize it's something you spend a little bit of time on, but makes a mass decision in your life.
Yeah, and it's like, you know what it's like? It's like picking you're married, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you sleep on what side of the bed?
The right side. The
right side. You see, now I sleep on the left side. You know why I sleep on the left side? Because I just made a snap decision. I had no idea. It's like, here I am. I don't know. I took now for the rest of my life, I'm stuck on this side of the bed. If a monster were to, I don't know why I chose this side. Maybe because if a monster came, I'd be quicker to get him or quicker to run. I never know why I made this decision. And you don't realize that it's a big decision until the monster comes. But insurance, there are monsters that don't expect are going to happen in your life. Yep. And it's like you have this reputation of being always trying to sell a policy, but what you've managed to do is be able to, in a kind way, because insurance. Here's the thing: you got to always talk about death with insurance, right? But that's not enough. You guys have to add on dismemberment. Like it's like death and dismemberment, as if it's a little like a little extra, sprinkles on your ice cream. Let's just add the little dismemberment there for you.
But see, the key with that too is I try to have a story that kind of touches it, but doesn't get so in your face about it. Because I think about it is a morbid topic. People don't like talking about death. I think about in my own family, it was a conversation we didn't have a lot. But when you kind of think about the legacy or the next generation or retirement, I kind of use those positive phrases. And I think of it like it is a big impact to your life. So why not make it fun while you're making a decision? Because when you're in a commodity-based business, our life insurance is commodities. All insurance is a commodity. You have to insert more personality when you work in a commodity-based business because you can't differentiate with the product. You got to have more person. So I try to kind of use my own personal stories or their personal stories to make it more real and more relevant versus facts, figures, and products.
That's money. This is a real sales show. Chris Stone. I thought this was going to be all my stuff.
Not a real sales show.
Yeah, this is great.
It's your show.
We had somebody earlier that was, this is my fan base. We had somebody earlier said, hey, I was watching another show where you're talking about almond milk. So that's the distance which we can go. We can go from insurance,
almond milk and sales
and death and dismemberment. Same thing. It's all part of the same process. But
I've got a question. And let's get away from dismemberment.
Wait, hold on. I'm going to lead. Let me just lead. You take it for a second because insurance is all about prevention. And so while you ask your next question, Chris Stone, which is going to be much more valuable than anything I could say because the guy's brilliant. But one of the best ways to prevent, in this pollen season and allergies is to make sure you have an air purifier in your house. Okay.
I have one. I got that from Amazon too. I have one.
What, a Levoit?
You got to get
No,
the Lavoie.
it's got a circle on the top. I can't think of the brand. It has a little light on the top of it too.
That's the Lavoie.
Oh, there you go. See, I didn't even know. Yep, it has a fan
little
and a
blue
light.
light.
Yep,
And it's good for sleeping and everything like that. You see how we could weave all this stuff in? You know why I can do that, Daryl Perry? Because I'm an experienced broadcast specialist located here in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia, where the sky is dripping with inspiration and motivation that makes you live a longer life. And Chris Stone has a question.
I am so glad you interrupted me to talk about an air purifier, Dan. So, Daryl, the one thing that I found you on LinkedIn, like a lot of people are, and that's really seems to be like your channel, so to speak, right? That's where you're doing your interviews, and I think you're repurposing that into a podcast from your interviews from that show, Business with Benefits. But what I was first and foremost taken from is like, especially in what's happened over the past year. Everyone's talking about their brand, their authority brand, their personal brand, and all of that. And before anybody was really ramping up and talking about that, you had one. You took something and you owned it. And so it's not just the fact that you rock a bow tie every time you see that, and you are the notorious BTG, and like you're owning that. But it's like, not only is that cool, but now I'm seeing stuff on LinkedIn that is like you doing hip hop videos, you doing like you're dropping bars on insurance over a Jay-Z beat or something, and you're doing so. That's the kind of stuff that I think people are really afraid to do, to hit the button and go out there and say, this is me, and our voices and our brands are not for everyone, right? But I would imagine when you went out there and did that boldly, you got a ton of business because people saw that. That was like a pattern interrupt with what people normally see on LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah, definitely a pattern interrupt, because, I mean, when I first started doing it, insurance people don't use social media usually. So I remember going to conferences and people would be like, oh, you got 1 like on that post. You got 2 likes on that one. I was like, all right. And I liken it to Michael Jordan with The Last Dance. So when somebody kind of says, I'm going to do this better than you, or I'm going to egg you on like you're not doing a good job, I kind of say, okay, I'm going to show you. And I started making content more. And then I was talking to a friend of mine, Michael Potteramo. He said, I said, I rap. I was thinking about doing some videos with insurance with rapping. And he's like, oh, you should do that. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, be the rapping insurance guy. And I was like, okay, well, he likes it. And the switch for me was thinking, like you said, I'm not for everybody. So people would say, aren't you afraid to do a rap video on LinkedIn? No, if you don't like it, I don't want to deal with you, because that's just part of me. So I might come into your office playing some rap music when I'm walking in there, or think of a song and reference it. It might happen. I'm not doing derogatory rap music. I have kids and I think about all that. But that was just saying, if you don't like it, you're not for me. So for people that are scared to put their personal brand out there, there's always the fear of, I'll disqualify somebody. Somebody at corporate won't like it. Screw them. If they don't like it, they're not your audience. You need to think about who are the people that ride for me, who are the people that want to deal with me, because I can't convert you to like me if you don't. It's kind of like changing politics. I can't make you go from Republican to Democrat or vice versa. I can't do it. So if you don't like what I do now, then I'm not going to try to make you buy from me in the future. I'm going to focus on the camp that is there and that wants to be with me.
That is so true. And the fact is, there are 8 billion people in the world anyway. For your people's general, circle of influence is like 200 people. I mean, if all you need is 2 or people, I mean, how many spouses do you have?
1. This is not Utah.
1. Imagine that. There's 8 billion people. Let's say 7.5 billion don't like you. That still leaves 500 million people to play with, and you only need 1.
Right.
Oh, Savita Brooks is in the house. Look at her rocking and rolling. See, that's a gal that knows how to engage.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
She's all caps. She's on team hashtag
she
all
doesn't
caps.
mess around. Yeah, but so I cannot believe you didn't come to the Deed Zone here without a rap after all we've been through.
But when you think about that too, when Chris mentioned like I was doing it for people who were doing it, it was all an accident for the most part. I mean, the bow tie thing, I credit my wife for that. I have a bunch of neckties. This is, don't tell anybody, this is a necktie. I tie neckties as a bow tie. And my wife was like, hey, there's this video on YouTube I saw about making a necktie into a bow tie. I'm like, oh, really? Okay, I'll try it out. And then as I prospect in person, people would say, I don't know who my insurance agent is, but it's some guy with a bow tie. And then I'll cold call people and meet them at like a Starbucks or Panera Bread. And they would say, hey, I haven't seen you in person. How will I know who you are? And I would say, oh, I'll be the guy in the lobby with the bow tie. And my mentor heard me say that. Said, oh, the guy with the bow tie, I like that. Okay. And it was totally an accident. And then the notorious BTG, someone gave me that name for bow tie guy. So most of it's by accident, but I'm engaging my audience. I'm showing up. So they're like, hey, you should try this. And I listen to my audience quite a bit. So Savita's been a great supporter. And so has been Robert Berry. Like it was one of those things you listen to the people and then you can kind of figure out what works and what doesn't work. And that's kind of been my formula, I guess, for the last 10 years on LinkedIn.
So Savita is her name?
Savita.
Okay, here we go. So it's me. I'm Savita. Come home. Come home. It's me. Come. What song is that? That's Wuthering Heights, In Your Face. Boom. 1976. All right. Hey, I want to first.
Are we having a sing off / rap off?
You can't hang with me.
You
want me to sing the QPU song?
If you guys want a sing off thing, you should go to Brian Shulman has LinkedIn Lip Sync Battle. That's a new thing he created. I mean, I helped make the theme song for it. So LinkedIn Lip Sync Battle with Brian Shulman.
Well, I want to bring a point across to everybody who wants to know, because this is really important. You're talking about branding yourself, and you have that bow tie brand and all that. I guess I have some kind of brand, that you can put together. But everybody has a brand. The question is whether or not you're going to make it for yourself or you're going to let other people give it to you. Everybody has a reputation. It's very important right now to make one and make a splash, because nobody cares about companies anymore. Like, I don't care the insurance, the company of insurance that you give me. It used to be that the brand was the big thing, like a good neighbor, people know that stuff. But now I'm dealing with the notorious BTG. The hell do I get? Give me the best thing. I don't care what it is. I'm dealing with you. So the shift has happened, and it's complete now. Given this virus that's going on, it's complete. You're dealing with people now. You're not dealing with companies. It's over. Except you're dealing with Amazon, because they are the ultimate customer. but
I agree with you on that too.
I want to thank. I have to thank Michael for following. You know who's better than you? Dennis Scott, who's also following. Oh, Dennis Scott Smith. Woo-hoo-hoo, look who's fancy with the 3 level. That's awesome. Listen, I love both of you guys. Thank you so much. Play around and join. And if you need insurance, deal with my man over here. Okay, I'm sorry. I rudely interrupted the guest.
No. You're fine. I was going to throw in something that I've been in sales for a while. So retail sales is a big part of my prior to BTB was retail sales. And to kind of go to your point, if people don't care about brands, I was the guy that knew about every TV in the lot. So I basically worked in the retail sales on electronics and TVs and sound systems. I would know everything about a TV. But the thing that kind of made people go to me was like, oh, you know everything. So what's good? Like the brand didn't matter to them at that point. This is in 2005 through 2009. It was more about, well, you said it's good and you're the guy that knows everything. So which one did I get? So often I can kind of have my pick of just saying you should buy this because they trusted me. And the brand was like a secondary thing, like, hey, this is good, it's a Sony. Hey, this is good, it's a Mitsubishi. Oh, okay, whatever you say, because they're all relatively good. All companies have some merit of being good. So a person validating it kind of helps you nowadays to see, have you used it? Do you like it? Do you trust it? That's what people want, is a live human, because people buy from people. So the brand's like a cherry on top usually.
That's exactly. So if you want to get started and building your own brand and things like that, understand social media is like, people don't buy. Somebody cold calls you, you're not going to buy right away. When you see an ad that just comes at you, you're not going to buy it right away. But social media, instead of being, the way of getting new leads and acquiring customers, what social media is, what you said before, it's validation. You hear something about a guy, maybe you get a call, maybe you see an ad, and then you say, who is this? Let me look him up. And, you could look people up, you go on, there's this website called Google. You ever heard of it? Google? Yeah. So
what is that?
Yeah, so people will go ahead and put your name in if they find out you're, through looking, oh my gosh, this guy's an axe murderer, not good. But
Right.
even worse than that, what if they find nothing?
Oh yes, that's the worst. I can't stand when people have like no presence because people say, "Well, I don't know what to post. I don't feel like it's my audience, and people won't listen to me." But you got to find something. And the idea of it is, back in the older days, we would probably see something like 50 times and decide to buy it. So if you see Coca-Cola over and over again, eventually you say, "Okay, I'll buy it," after like 50 impressions. Now, because of everything's probably 5,000 times, you have to see something to actually decide. So the reason I make content so frequently, you buy insurance a few times in your life, not all the time. So if you only do it a few times, your buying process is not like my selling process. So if your buying process is like, I don't know where to get it, I just buy it when I need it, I need to make sure I'm around. That way, when that one or few times that comes in your life happens, I'm there. And that's where people miss the boat with, accounting, finance, insurance, stuff like that. They miss the boat on. People don't buy those things all the time. So you need to be present and seen frequently. So when they decide to, they know where to go.
Yeah. So here's my new thing. Tell me if you like it. Ready? This is what'll make you. This is what'll make your career in a boring business like yours. And I say that with love. I say boring, but everybody has. This is what you need to do: more value to more people more often. So you said that you say that you're producing content often. How often?
Daily, Monday through Friday.
What do you do Monday through Friday?
So it could be a combination of like the show I do once a week. It could be a video of me talking about something. It could be a picture. It could be text. Just I need to be present somehow. So every day I post something. And that came from, if you go back all the way in my LinkedIn feed to the very beginning, it was horrible. So people say, "Oh, I can't do that." Well, you're looking at chapter 11 when you're in the preface right now. You need to start somewhere. And
let me get the book. Hold on. Keep on talking.
It used to just be basically like a quote, like a text quote. You could post that, like putting something out there. Because like Dan said, you can't have nothing there. You got to have something in your content. So when people look you up to say, "I don't know what he does, but I think he likes the same stuff I like." He posted about, LSU. I like LSU. That's cool. He posted about his kids. I have kids. So something has to be there. So don't overthink it. But put something out there. I don't know if daily's everybody's formula, but for me, daily is important because, again, people buy what I sell once in a while.
You know what I like about the way you're approaching this is much like the way a content creator or an influencer create. But you're not looking at insurance like, this is my job, this is how I'm supposed to do as an person who sells insurance. You're like a insurance influencer, or I guess in Japan they call them key opinion leaders, right? And so but we think an influencer is someone who takes pretty pictures on Instagram and has a shoppable photo that sends to the sandals that they're wearing. But you're looking at it like this: you're like, I can take my brand and I can influence people as a part of what I do, and it's just it's seamless for you because it is who you are. And I
think about know, like, and trust a lot. That's what I think about. People always hear about you, buy from who you know, like, and trust. So the way I look at social media is the content helps with know and like, very much so, because you see it frequently. Say, okay, I know and like it. The consistency creates the trust, and the messaging creates the trust. So I'm very big on messaging people that like my content or say something. I'll message them. That way, that's a big trust factor. If I can send you a message and you open it and read it and reply to it, that infers a higher level of trust than just liking something. So that's where I look at the feed, know and like, and then consistency is trust as well as the messaging.
Yeah, that's money, and you sound good. You have a good mic. Oh, good mic, good cameras. You're present with that whole thing. And at the beginning, you weren't, and people, your presentation style is very important. A lot of times when people first get started, they talk really fast. But when you talk really fast and do that, you kind of sound shady.
Yeah,
and so you really
got to. In the South, that's the thing. Yeah, definitely in the South, they tell you that.
Yeah. Well, coming from the North, you sound shady there too. But it's okay.
Yeah.
At least in the North, they tell you that listen, I'm about to lie to you. All right. There you go. And then you go right after. But so are you using your headphones? What mic are you using?
I'm using a Samsung mic. This is back from my rap days, though. I kept it. I was very much supposed to be a rap artist back when I was younger. I jokingly say Kanye West stole my career because I was a rapper producer that didn't sell drugs. That was my model. I didn't sell drugs. I would rap and produce. That was me. He beat me to the punch when I was younger, and I actually had a brief stint with a battle with 50 Cent online. I had a song that got his label's attention. Oh yeah, it was a fun thing. A friend of mine or I thought it was a friend of mine. I had a voicemail on my phone. This is like 2001 or something.
Wait, and this is all with the Samson? This is all
this is the same microphone. Yep, Samson microphone. It's a condenser mic. I had a voicemail saying, "Hey, this is so-and-so from Shady Aftermath asking to cease and desist your song." And this is website I had this song and I got to be #1 for like 8 weeks. So I'm like, who is this? So I call the number and I'm like, nah, let me just hang up. This is a joke. So I call my friends who did this. All of my friends, I didn't do that. That wasn't me. So I'm like, wait a minute, this is real. So I call the number and then they had Eminem hold music on the voicemail. So that was like, oh my God, this actually is Interscope. Because Eminem was big at that time. Like, this is actually real. So I left the song up there like, no, I'm leaving this up here. This is my shop. But then I had kids and kind of got grown and said, okay, I got to get a real job, quote unquote, at that time. So this is my microphone from those days.
Really? I cannot believe you don't have a rap for us right now. So give us something. Just give us. It's okay. It's not like I'm going to hold you to it.
You can find me on Amazon, rapping with the pandas on. Everything I do is hot. Call me the I can't even do. I'm not even ready to do this. Hold on. I'm rapping with Dan. He is the man. Understand? I got a plan, and my hands is hot. Plan to stop. Nah, not happening ever. Come through with the raps, and my flow is clever.
Gosh, that's awesome! Way to go! I am so blown away and impressed because you just took it right there. See, most people can't handle on the spot stuff like that.
I didn't at first, but then I said, "Wait, it's Dan. I got to do it for Dan." So
that's it.
So Daryl, when you were an artist, you still are an artist, but when you were, before you got grown, did you go by Daryl Perry? What was were you the notorious BTG then, or what was your?
I'm like a huge Wu-Tang fan, so I probably had like 12 different rap names back in the one that kind of stuck was Nobody. Yeah. Nobody was my last one, but basically that's for branding. That's where I kind of like, and I think I wrote an article about this, that wrestlers and rap artists are the best personal branders. Because if you think about wrestling, like Macho Man Randy Savage, it was all personality. Yeah. There was no qualms about that. Or rap artists, they're very much a whole different persona. So I think that taught me how to, make a persona, and it's still me, but just to turn it on and kind of say, okay, I need to have a different persona for the situation. So I think people think of that as being inauthentic sometimes, but it's basically just a part of you. So this is my business part of me. So I'm very much an introvert unless it's work time. When it's work time or music time, I'll turn on. But when it's like my normal situation, I want to go talk to 5 people and that's it. I don't want to be in front of a crowd of people usually. So that's kind of where I think that music has helped me.
Oh yeah. So this is showtime for you. Normally you're withdrawn but when it's game time, you rock and roll.
Yeah, I'm an ambivert, they call it, or something. So usually I'm doing reports and reading quotes and stuff like that. That's the introvert time. But then when it's time to work, then it turns on.
Yeah,
by the way, Ricky said I can't. What?
You that's what you do. You turn on the Deej.
Oh yeah, turn on the Deej. I have
that's another personality altogether. Yeah.
It's not that I wouldn't call myself an introvert by any stretch, but I'm not nearly as loud when I'm alone. Because I like to be alone. I mean, as a kid, I would go camping by myself. I would I just got to get away because I feel like maybe you could help me, Daryl Perry, with a little counseling here, because Chris Stone is useless. I have an issue that whenever I'm around 2 or more people, I'm on stage. And I have to be the center of attention. Like I feel like they're expecting it of me, and so I have to. So I have to do it. So like you just threw out that song, because you had it there. It must have been somewhere in your head, man. I got like 100 stories that I've stored away, so people think that I'm so spontaneous, but really everything's all planned out.
Well, at least you're aware of it. That's the thing about it, is to be aware. I mean, if anything, if you know your personality quirks, you can be aware of them and kind of build your business around that. So I kind of got aware of the fact that I like music. It's always a part of me. Why hide that? Why make it not something that I use all the time? And I'm good at it. So if it's something you're good at and you're aware of it, use it. That's kind of what every celebrity kind of does. They kind of find their little thing and make it, these TikTokers and YouTube people and all the video people out there, they find something they're good at, kind of focus on it and just do it over and over again. So I think it's the same for any business. You might not be the most comfortable on video. You can say, well, I'm great at writing, or I'm great at taking good pictures or being funny. Find whatever it is and focus on it. And that can be a start to a personal brand.
Yes, but I'm to the point where I don't even. You know you've made it mentally when you stop caring what other people think, and I think that's
Yeah.
where you are. I wrote a song for the Samsung Q2U because it makes you feel like you're a little bit of Deej and a whole lot of you. Add a glass of Starlet in the Samsung Q2U, then let it rise for 100 years or two, and that's the recipe for making sound. What do you think of that?
Boom.
Yeah, that's right.
You made me think about, I saw a Cheddar documentary about the evolution of the pitch or the jingle. You should watch that. It was a whole thing on Cheddar about how jingles have changed over time.
I used to love jingles. They don't do jingles anymore. I'm a big fan of jingles. My whole childhood was nothing but jingles. I steal nearly every tune that I have is from a jingle.
Well, it was an interesting documentary
Ricky says
about
if you can't dazzle them with brilliance, then daze them with decibels. That guy, I'm telling you, he's brilliant. That guy. That's what I do. You know, at least I'm loud. I'm sorry. You were talking. You were before Ricky rudely interrupted you. What were you saying?
No, I just think that when we're talking about boring stuff in sales, everybody has to be decent at sales. I don't think you have to be great all the time, but I mean, you have to have some sales acumen because sales is taking somebody from one place to another in a positive way. That's kind of my definition. That people would say, "Oh, I don't like sales." Well, if you're taking somebody from where they are to somewhere better in a positive way, is that a good thing? I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, you sold your spouse on marrying, you sold the kids on brushing their teeth, these students you have, whatever it is, you kind of move people along the process because you know there's a better place. And when you do boring stuff makes a big impact usually, but it's not sexy and you don't want to talk about it. So it's not like, oh, I really want to talk about buying a house. Like people just want the house. They don't want to go through all the paperwork in the process. So the more you can kind of put some fun to it, it helps make it more bearable. And you have to do that with boring stuff because it's unbearable. So if you got to make silly videos just to make people get through it, I see people about financial advice on TikTok, which I'm like, I don't want to be on TikTok. But the fact that there's financial advice on TikTok now, people are consuming it. They're like, oh, I didn't know what a mutual fund was because now this video, I know what it is. So whatever you decide to do, if you're in a boring space, you have to really be keen on the fact that people want to get it from knowledgeable people. So if you can make it fun, they'll lean in like, okay, you're a cool person. You're actually human. I'll ask you about this now because now I know you're real human because we're in the information age. I can find anything I want to find right now on Google, like you mentioned. The fact is, who's going to help me with it, though? So I can literally look up right now pest control and decide I want to do it myself. Or if you can be the kind of person that I like or something, say, you know what? Bill's been doing this pest control thing a long time. He's pretty cool. I'll ask him to do it. That's what the difference is now. It's about applied knowledge. We can find anything, but who's going to help us apply it in a nice, amicable way for people?
That's just exactly how it ought to be, because Zig Ziglar said it a million years ago. He said the most important part of the sale is the salesperson. And that's true because it's especially in your business. It's not like anything's new anymore. It's not, nothing blows you away like it's new. Especially, no one's ever come to you and you walked up to somebody and said, "I want to introduce you to something called insurance," and they're like, "Holy crap! What the? Are you serious? This is come here! You got to check this out. It's thing called insurance. Everybody knows what insurance is. It's like you're not going to freak people out. Insurance, you can get it from anywhere you want, but what you are doing is being the trustworthy soul that's solving their issue at hand." I think I talked to you there, my boy Matthew. Oh, by the way, big news! He just got tomorrow. We should get funded for this new business, you got to get insurance. You got to get insurance. And it's not like we need insurance. And so he's not like, you want insurance, but we got to get it. You have to do it. And so he calls me up, "Daddy, who should we go with?" And so, I have a client, and so that's who we're going with. I didn't shop anything around. I have my person that I trust, and I have my person that I trust because that person is trustworthy. And they've built that over time through consistency, like you spoke of before, which is awesome. Which is why
the beautiful thing when you mentioned that the personal brand and the social media, it's amazing that if you're making content consistently, once you talk to somebody that's been consuming it, they always say, "I feel like I know you." Like I do this all the time. I have a Zoom with somebody, and I like to Zoom with as much of my audience as I can. So anybody that's connected with me, if you want to have a Zoom with me, I love it. Whether we're going to do business or not, I don't care. I just want to actually know you as a person and not like as an avatar. but nearly every time when I Zoom with somebody, it could be after a week of talking to them or a year. They're like, I feel like I know you already because they've seen so much content. So if anybody has this, when you mention cold calling, they don't know you. So you got to build a relationship out of nowhere, which is doable, but it's kind of difficult. With content, I can literally cold call somebody that I know has been following my content and then call them and say, hey, this is Daryl Perry. Oh, yeah, what's going on? Like, there's never like a wall up because they've seen you so much. Like, yeah, what you got?
Yeah, and sometimes they're even starstruck. No, is this really? Is this really the DJ? You ever get that? No way.
That happens when people are like, "Oh, it's good to finally know you. You want to call me?" And it's so humbling because I'm very appreciative that I have a large audience and people actually follow me. Like I'm super appreciative of that because I'm an insurance guy. I wouldn't expect people to want to follow insurance guys, so I'm very appreciative of anybody that wants to talk to me. But that does happen. I met people in person before COVID happened. I'd walk into a networking meeting. And somebody say, hey, you're that guy I always see doing the video. You did the bow tie thing, right? And I've never spoken to them. They've never liked anything. They've just seen it. And I walk into a room, they're like, oh, yeah, I know you. Never even spoke to you. So it's an awesome thing when you understand the power of social media and networking in a positive way.
Yes, that's exactly right. And I'll do that on LinkedIn for people that I've never met or just I know I'm linked in with them, because there's people you don't really know. And I'll call them up and I have a little thing. I say, listen, this is Dan. We may or may not know each other, but we are linked in together. And I have a policy that anybody that has the guts to put their telephone number on their LinkedIn profile gets a phone call from me. And they say, oh yeah, the Deej, what's going on? It's like they all, kind of know you just from that stuff. And then you move on to, and the important thing, however, in this, in really using LinkedIn and networking and doing what you're doing, you say you want to get to know them. Right. I think it's important also to ask. Most people are afraid. That's why they're afraid of sales, because they're afraid to ask. But in this world, everybody has so many, people around them. You could really get anything you want to ask. And so I always ask for a small ask. Hey, do me a favor. Follow me on, follow me on YouTube, or follow me on the pitchman.live, or follow me on these things. And it's a gift for them to do that, and because they want to repay you, because they're enjoying your content, they're enjoying you. Right. They want to give you something. They want to add back to it, and it's really a gift to them. My daughter is 19, and she's very independent. Doesn't let me do anything. But just this week earlier, she was going to work and she was running a little late. She said, "Daddy, can you make me lunch?" Usually, she makes her own lunch. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like, thank you. Here I have a chance. And so now, I look forward to it every day. I rush home and I go by and make sure, and it's perfect. And, and the cellophane around it is just right. I keep asking her, I go, how was the sandwich today? She's like, Daddy, it's a sandwich. What do you do? I know, because it's such a gift for me to be able to do that. And so when you contact people, whether they give you business or not, give them, I always tell this to all new salespeople, you're not interrupting people if you're giving value.
Oh, yes. If you're say that again. Yeah, say that. That's so important, because people I don't want to be pushed, don't bother people, but they're not thinking about you like that. They're not thinking about what you do all the time. So the other thing about these calls with people is that they might have been thinking about something you do and say, you know what, now that I got you on the phone, I got a question about this. And that's the idea, is they're not thinking about it constantly. People forget stuff all the time. So by you just having a conversation, I rarely set up a Zoom with somebody and say, hey, we're going to Zoom to talk about insurance. It's just saying, hey, let's just talk. The way I feel about it now is that I've been virtual since, the end of March last year. So I've gained back 2 hours of time just by not driving back and forth around Georgia and being in the car. So I don't have Zoom fatigue like people talk about, because I'm giving value and I have fun when I Zoom with people. If you're doing boring stuff, yes, you'll get Zoom fatigue, because nobody gets Netflix fatigue. Nobody gets Amazon Prime fatigue, because it's something you want to do. So if you're having Zoom fatigue, you're not giving value to people. They're not engaging you. So I think about when I talk to them, it's never like an insurance meeting. It's like, hey, let's just talk. And then invariably they'll say, hey, I'm trying to get benefits for my employees. What should I do? And I'm like, oh, I didn't know he was going to talk about that. Well, sure, you can do da-da-da-da-da. And because they trust you, because they're in the content and they're following you. So that's the kind of good recipe that everybody's amicable. It's a peaceful conversation. There's no adversarial salesperson thing. It's just two people that connected saying, hey, let's talk. So personal branding in boring spaces is key to have people want to have those conversations and then possibly have business come up from there.
That is just great.
That's
I always tell everybody when you give enough value and you're giving value to someone, never expect for reciprocity from that exact person. It'll come occasionally, but never expect it from that person. But always expect it to come from out of nowhere, from the universe. Because if you give out a massive amount of value, it creates a hole in the universe, and because of the law of even Steven, it has to, equal out.
I like that, even Steven. But no, a cool thing about that too, people always mess up giving value. They think about it, give people white papers and stats and stuff. I'm giving value. No, value is like, what does your audience actually care about? What's something you know that they don't know? That's where people mess it up. Like, I can say I'm giving value. It makes you smile. Like, a lot of my videos I send to people just make you smile. I send a birthday video. Nothing to do with business, but you might be the only person that got a birthday video is from me. Nobody else sent you one. So that's value. But also just, what does my audience know or they don't know that I know? That's the kind of stuff that's valuable. Not just like, here's a new product. Here's my website. There's tons of value on it. No, what is something they don't know that they should know? That's when you're really giving value to your people that follow you.
Well, that's
Daryl,
awesome.
what would you say that to someone who is maybe not necessarily in insurance, but wants to do similar things that you're doing in terms of getting more content out there, getting people to know you a little bit more because they're in a boring profession, perhaps? What do you do in your workflow? How do you find the time? You say you've got 2 hours back because you're virtual, and Atlanta traffic, as we know, is brutal. But what are some tips or some things that you do in your sort of workflow to be able to crank out so much content?
Well, the first thing, if you say you're not really creative, I would say the first kind of content is comments. Comments are content. That's the best thing you can do, because the algorithm looks at it like, I'm participating in the conversation, and then the person that's the author responds back to you. So that gives you a great amount of feedback on any social platform, is through comment. So if you can't really get past your mental block of making up stuff, you can read the video or watch a video and say, oh, this is what I think about this. Or read an article, this is what I think about this. That's easy to make comments for stuff. And then when I say a comment, more than just good job, congrats, awesome, like something with substance to it. That's, anybody can do that. And if you take 15 minutes a day just doing that, that's better than just saying, I don't know what content to make. I can't make content. I'm not creative like that. That's one way. So it's commenting. But then the other thing is just thinking about your day, the stuff you go through on a daily basis. That's content. I was talking to somebody about helping them with their LinkedIn. And they're like, I had a client just drop a box of, they were an accountant. I had a client bring a box full of receipts in a shoebox. And it frustrated me so much. I'm like, that's content. She's like, huh? That's right there. That's content right there. That's you talking about this shoebox full of receipts for tax time is a piece of content, because somebody else will be like, yes, that's me too. I do that every year. So it doesn't have to be that hard, but comments is the first part. And then it's thinking about your day, the stuff you deal with all the time, the stuff you tell people all the time. That is content. Don't make it this mythological thing of I got to get a video crew and editing and all that. The best content on most platforms is just raw video. It could be just you sitting at your desk with your phone. Hey, this is what happened, or a picture of you doing something. And that's where when I started, that's all it was for me. I wasn't editing. I wasn't putting captions and bars. It was just literally, hey, I'm out in the field today, da-da-da-da-da. Hey, this is a picture of me at a client. Like, I used to take pictures outside of a client's office. This is before their open enrollment. I just finished delivering some life insurance, whatever it was. I would take a picture, and that was probably about half of my content for a year. And people said, oh, I see you actually doing the work. That's cool. Where are you in town right now? Let's go have lunch or something. And that's an easy way to do it. Just documenting your day is a good way to make content for people that say, I don't know what to do.
Well, I think the mindset approach is you really need to want to do it. As soon as you say, I'm not creative or I can't do that, you'll look for reasons why you're not creative and you can't do it. If you just say, I want to be more creative, you'll be on the lookout for things. And then how many people get a shoebox and don't think that could be content? Yeah. And so, but if you're looking for it, you have it. You can't. It's all over the place. I mean, it's your rap song is content. And if you're listening to, sometimes you're in the car singing to a song and you change the words. You're playing around. You're doing or you get caught. You ever get caught picking your nose in your car? No, I mean, sing. Yeah, I know. I know.
Amazon sells Kleenex, Dan. Amazon sells Kleenex somewhere.
You're a natural. You're a natural with the Amazon. Oh, well, this is awesome. Well, so how do people get a hold of you?
Best way, if you look up on LinkedIn, my hashtag. Well, right there you see my over there. That's my my name on there. I think I'm the only Daryl. Not I take it back. There's another Daryl Perry. He's Caucasian. So if you see a Caucasian Daryl Perry, it's not me. My hashtag is a notorious BTG or business with benefits. You can find me that way. And then just hit me up. I love to talk to people. I've been very intentional about building my audience on LinkedIn. So that's something when you mentioned mindset, I thought about, I want to be seen more. I want to be found more easily. So anybody can do that, but just find me on LinkedIn. I have a YouTube channel, which is just to archive my show. I actually engage on LinkedIn. YouTube's kind of like my, storage space. But thanks for having me on here. I really appreciate it. And I love that we met. I forgot how many years ago it was. We met at a networking event somewhere in Marietta. I was trying to tell Chris, but I couldn't remember what it was. Do you remember what it was?
That we met like live in person?
Yeah, it was like in 2018 or something, or 16. It was like a networking event we met at a long time ago.
I don't know, but for whatever reason, it was memorable enough for us to get together because the main thing, and this is what I think I love about you and what you're doing, is a lot of people that get into these professions, whether it be a real estate agent or a broker of whatever kind of agent or an insurance agent, what they really secretly want to be is a secret agent. They kind of want to hide. They kind of want just people just to use them every once in a while. Only the special people. What I want is a little restaurant in the corner that only special people know. They want to be that way. And very quickly they go out of business and they blame the industry and they blame the profession instead of looking in the mirror and say, baby, if we're going to do this, let's go big. We got to get out of our comfort zone and do things that we've never done before. And the beautiful thing about it is once you do that, and once you decide to do that, you've officially become part of the 1%, part of the doers, the people that don't watch the news, the people that make the news. And that's you, Daryl Perry. I can't tell you how pleased I am to have you on this show. Chris Stone, once again, production extraordinaire. No one's better. Everybody who's watched us in all these places, I really appreciate you. Go ahead and find Daryl. If you want to find me, I'll be hiding from you. Follow, do whatever you want. Go on Google. Let's go ahead. This is a big day today. The good news today is what? Wednesday?
Cinco de Mayo.
You know what that? Oh yeah, which I like to call.
You know what it is?
Which I like to call.
So yesterday was May 4th, right?
Yes.
May the 4th be with you.
Right, but you know what I heard today? All you Star Wars. Are you a Star Wars fan, Daryl, by chance?
Yes, I actually had the Dungeons and Dragons Star Wars games when I was a kid.
Oh man! Hopefully you still have that. But
I think I still have some of the books. Actually, go ahead though.
Oh, awesome! So there's May the 4th, but apparently now, if you're like a super Star Wars nerd, today is actually Revenge of the 5th.
Yeah, that was a new one that came out a couple years ago.
Oh, okay. Well, I like to refer to it as May 5th. And so have the greatest May 5th ever. You guys are the best. I'm the Deej. Let's go get them today. 2 more days to set.